Hi there. Welcome to this week's Tuesday Tips. You may think that your boss or HR or the company will help you reach your career goals or make sure that you're being treated appropriately. Truth is, that's rarely the case. And I know that from my own career where I missed opportunities for advancement by waiting on my boss. And I let somebody be horribly disrespectful because I chose to ignore it instead of shutting it down. So I finally figured out that I had to start speaking up for myself if I wanted to get where I wanted to go. So, hi, it's Carol Doherty. I'm a career coach who helps women in STEM go from merely surviving to thriving and building the career of their dreams. So, this week, I'm going to be talking about why you need to advocate for yourself, particularly as a woman in STEM. We're in a male dominated world, and I don't know about you, but I was taught to, be nice and be polite and not brag about myself, not put myself first, but to take care of others. Well, when that came to my career, that tended to mean I was quiet about what I wanted and didn't want to speak up for my goals, my rights, and honestly, to be treated with respect. Now, I had older brothers who loved to tease me and gave me a hard time. They're 9 and 12 years older than me. So when I was little, I thought they knew everything. And so they fed me a whole bunch of BS. And I learned pretty early to kind of ignore that kind of bullying. And when there was that kind of stuff, I'm pretty good at shutting it out. That doesn't work at work because then people will continue because if it's bully, they're trying to get a rise out of you. And okay, not reacting, emotionally or blowing up or having this big reaction, which is what they're looking for, is great. However, it doesn't shut it down if you don't speak up. So I want to talk about a couple of ways and times when you need to speak up for yourself. The first is, where do you want to go with your career? My first job out of college, I worked for the Department of the Navy as a civil servant. And there, every 6 months or a year, kind of varied in the timing, you were up for a review, right? And not that there was a formal performance review, believe me, there wasn't, but they could look at, okay, hey, how are they performing? Should she be, bumped up a notch? And so my very first job, I was hired in as a GS5 and I left 2.5 years later as a GS9. And those bumps from a 5 to a 6 to a 7 to a 9 happened without me doing anything. And then I go to work for industry and I landed at a Fortune 100 company. And you know what? They don't do things that way. If you want to move up, you either have to have somebody who is really advocating for you or really wants you to work for them and they're willing to go to bat for you, or you have to have a boss that will support you in applying for other jobs. And maybe the luck of the draw is they'll move you around as needs be. Well, my first boss at this company, and I was there 14 years, my very first boss, I made him look good. So he didn't want me to move. So he kept giving me yeah, you would be great in that role, but type answer. And so I didn't get a chance to move up. The only way I got to move up was by changing factories. My husband had an opportunity to move, so we were looking at I was dead-ended, and I shouldn't have been because I was brought in at a fairly lowish level, and they're saying, "Well, we don't do in grade promotions," and there was nowhere for me to go. If they won't promote me in place, I can't get ready to go do my boss's job, and my boss wouldn't let me go anywhere else. So I you can't grow. You can't advance your career in that situation. So I asked to transfer, and I got to transfer, and at that factory, I had, learned my lesson and started speaking up for saying, "Hey, I'm happy to come into this role. I will do this job, but I don't wanna do it forever." And then I started talking about what I wanted. And you know what? Those opportunities came up. If I had never spoken up, they would have been really happy to leave me where I was. And that factory did give me an p position promotion because they didn't have that same problem with, "Oh, well, we're not gonna move you up." I was acting at a higher level, so they promoted me. But I wouldn't have it would have been hard for me to keep going up because there really wasn't anywhere to go. I needed to move out to be able to move up. And without being clear about what I wanted, that would never have happened, and it did happen. So, I learned that I had to speak up for my career, or it was gonna waiting on somebody else was gonna mean I waited for a really long time. The other time when you need to advocate for yourself is when you're being dismissed or you're being disrespected. And you'll see some stuff come out in posts this week about some of the disrespect from my very first job. But in this Fortune 100 company, I would travel with some of my colleagues to visit our end customers and inspect the product that we made in their hands and see how certain aspects were holding up and what did we need to be doing to continue to improve it. I went on one of those trips. When I came back, I walked into my boss's office and said, "I am never going on a trip with Nick again. Never. Not happening. Will not do it." He's like, "Why?" So I proceeded to tell him how disrespectful he was on the trip, how he dismissed me. He made me make all the arrangements, and then he questioned everything I did in front of our peers and in front of I don't know that he did in front of customers, but he did it in front of the field reps who helped me make the reservation, helped me make the agenda and make the plan. He still then disrespected me by questioning every decision, and I was not going to be dismissed that way anymore. So I told my boss, "Never again. I will not do it. Either you or his boss has to be on the trip." This was the first time we'd gone without adult supervision. So no bosses were with us, and he was so disrespectful. I'm like, not again, never." And you know what? He never went on a trip again. I did. I went out into the field. They let me go talk to the end customers. He was not allowed to go talk to end customers again. So, and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been willing to say, "No, this was inappropriate. It was unacceptable, and I'm not going to take it. I don't deserve to be treated that way." And if I hadn't been so clear, and I was a little fired up, but not irrational, but I was like, "No, this is not acceptable." And my boss heard me, and he paid attention. So it made it work. So this is what I mean when I say why you need to advocate for yourself. If you don't do it, who else is? Now, I know that some of the colleagues that were on that trip who were at the same factory that Nick was, spoke up to people there and said, "Yeah, he was out of line." But I don't know that it would have done anything. So, me hoping they would address it and they would fix it wouldn't have gotten it fixed. It took me being willing to say, "No more. I'm done." So, it's really important. You deserve to be treated with respect. You deserve to have opportunities for advancement. You have to work for it. You have to be respectful. You have to behave professionally, but you deserve to be treated that way and you deserve the opportunities. So if you're not willing to speak up, you're not going to get them. So This is something that's really obviously I'm kind of passionate about. And as a result, I'm going to be talking about this next Wednesday, November 3rd at noon Central in my midweek madness break free Zoom session. So if you want to join me, where I'll be diving deeper into advocating for yourself, you can register at the link in my bio or go to www.midweekmadnessbreak.live and register there. So I hope to see you there, and we'll consider more ways to grow your career. If you're watching this on Instagram or anywhere else, you can go to my YouTube channel and see other videos on building your career. If you want more information on that, DM me and we can set up a conversation on how I can help you grow your career. So check out my YouTube channel, caroldoherty.tube, and register for the Midweek Madness Break. You'll have some more information on how to advocate for yourself on November 3rd at noon Central. See you then.